Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Strange Stories. I'm here with my co host, Mark Edworthy, and today we are bringing to you another episode of Strange Stories. And here on the wonderful world of weirdness as well as strange stories. So, just so you know, there is a YouTube channel and a mods.com channel called Strange Stories that you can visit and check out our videos. If you want to see full episodes of this again at a later time that's edited, you can go to YouTube on Strange Stories and check them out. On minds.com, you can check out the 15-minute videos on there that I break them down to and for free. And then you can also join the membership in minds.com at my main timeline, which is Roger underscore Hanson on minds.com. So you can check them out there later on, but you can also watch us right now live, the full episode. So stick around and check it out because tonight we are going to be getting into some pretty cool stuff. Now, this year I started out Strange Stories talking about the Valley of Death. And at the time, I brought up the thing about the Valley of Death in Russia, which involved volcanic gas that was actually killing off the animals in the area. But I wanted to talk about something else that was strange about this valley that didn't have to do necessarily with that. And I had forgotten it at the time, but I recently went back over the stuff that I wanted to discuss and I wanted to bring it up. Um, the region that I'm talking about is called the Vilyuy River Basin, which is spelled Vilyuy. And it's it's famous for legends about cauldrons. Uh, August. August is how they say it there. It's the Olguis. They're cauldrons, okay? And they're vertical monoliths. When uh, when the explorers went up into that region and they started to discover the area in the early 1900s and the late 1800s, they found these strange cauldrons that were sticking up out of the ground, and they were actual monoliths, and they were actually metallic structures. Okay, now the weird part about this is the locals describe these massive reddish metal uh, hemispheres or domes, I guess you could call it, um, as as conduits from the earth where energy was being released. Okay, and that's the weird part about it, and that's what it is it's like they're hemispheres, and they're also they look like domes that are buried in permafrost. Okay. um Now this goes back to the time when they first went up there to discover the area, and later they wanted to find out because the information somehow got lost in the last 100 years, and it one of the more modern explorers of our time came across it and decided he wanted to go up there to make sure to see if um, these monoliths were actually there, these cauldrons. Okay, and he went up there and he found them, um, but they weren't described exactly the same way that they were described originally back in the 1900s. You know what I mean? But they were there. Now, some of these are said to like protrude uh, s- slightly out from the ground with edges um, that were supposed to be so sharp that if you touched it, it could cut your fingernail. Okay. Um, that's what's so interesting about that. And then they also said that they're, according to legends, they actually are supposed to have strange effects. Now, legend warns that like hunters who slept in these iron houses for warmth during the winter would suffer from hair loss or skin sores, and they would have like deadly weakness symptoms that's often associated with radiation poisoning. Okay, how true that is, I really couldn't tell you, but that is what they've said, um, according to the legends. Now, one specific legend mentions a three-faced iron harpoon that poked out of the ground, and that comes from an area called Atadarek, Atadark. All right, and that is Manpuner, which is Manpupuner rock formations, is what they called it. The Atraderic, which is the Manpupuner rock formations, and that's in the Ural Mountains. So that's a really hard word to say. I can spell it to you if you guys want to check it out. It's Manpupuner, and then rock formations. And that's in the Ural Mountains. Now, if you're thinking of like literal stone monoliths sticking out of the ground, then don't think that way. Okay, these formations are completely different than what you would think. They actually don't look natural at all whatsoever. And the reason why I brought this up is because a while back when I was younger, I used to always watch Ancient Astronaut, or Ancient Aliens is what it is. Now the the thing that they mentioned was the fact that a lot of these symptoms mention radiation poisoning, and then like when you go back to what me and you were discussing last year, Mark, when it comes to the Dyatlov Pass, okay, and the
Mm.
strangeness that's behind that, they brought that into question too. They're like, what if these are like alien um, rays basically that are set to defend the planet from freaking like asteroids or some kind of force that would come into the planet that would shoot them down. You know what I mean? Um, like I said, I don't want to say that I believe that or not, but when you look at the Dyatlov Pass and the mysterious happenings that happened there, and what they were talking about with the photography, with the solid bright white light that was mentioned in the photo, it makes you think, and then you also take a look at um, the forest that I brought up when it came to Tesla and his teleforce ray.
Mm.
What if it wasn't something that was involving Tesla? What if it was these monoliths that actually produced that effect? You know what I mean? Where it actually shot something down above the surface and it caused all those trees to freaking collapse down like it did. You know, it's really
Okay.
interesting. It's really interesting. That was the reason why I actually wanted to bring Death Valley up too, because of that. And then on top of that, also mentioning that with this Valley of Death, it has volcanic gases that are so potent that they kill animals who come into it. You know what I mean? That again is pretty fascinating when you look at it like that. So,
Okay, yeah. So I'm just looking at, colloquially called the Seven Straw Men, um, ranging from 30 to 42 meters and over 2 million, formed over 2 million years by erosion.
yeah, seven massive weathered stone pillars. They range from 30 to 42 meters high.
Mm.
They stand isolated on a remote plateau. Now, these are natural geological features, okay, uh, that were supposed to be created millions of years ago out of wind and ice erosion, but they don't look that way. I mean, it's very very strange. Have you seen the pictures of them?
Looking at them there, and I don't know, they look sort of naturally formed. Um,
Oh, come on, dude. Tell me
just
that.
look like sort of I don't know. I was
Like
going to say um, well, rocks that's standing up on the side, river
cauldron.
rocks just made, but also what reminds me of something like a termite mound.
You wouldn't think that they're man-made cauldrons if you didn't know better.
If they were all, I'm not sure. Um, I can see what where you thinking.
That understand too, they are located just west of the Ural Mountains,
Mm.
which is relatively close to the Dyatlov Pass too. You know, that's something that I found pretty interesting, you know. And I don't know, it just stuck out to me, you know what I
Technically,
mean?
they're not metal. They are stone pillars. You said metal, I think.
Well, they do look the I mean the color, okay, the color of them is metallic. Just
It's more
it's
grey.
more it's
It's
like a
more granite sort of colour.
it's a
Sorry,
reddish metal, more of a reddish metal metallic uh look to it.
I suppose it depends on what sort of sunlight you're looking at. It's well, it's sort of it's more like granite to me.
Now, are you looking at a colorized version of it, or are you looking at a
No,
black and
I'm
white
looking at
picture?
multiple images. Yeah.
Because, like, I know they've got a lot of black and white photos of it. So,
No,
but
I'm looking at multiple images, and yeah, it's sort of grey.
oh, gray is metallic. You know that, right?
Well, grey. I mean, sort of granite, sort of looking.
Like a stone.
Yeah, yeah. So
Now, the the volcanic gas. This is the Valley of Death, which is Kamachka. Now, that is on the Kamachka Peninsula. That one is a different location with the volcanic gas. These are two separate locations. The one that we're talking about right now is much more closer to the Dyatlov Pass. The one that we were talking about before with the toxic volcano gases, like hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide, those are farther west from where we're discussing right now. Just
I can see. I can see your point about metal. Made of a material. Can't even pronounce it, but a fine grain white mica with quartz in it.
mm-hmm. It really, and like if you, I don't know, I guess maybe they're not showing all of them. They're wanting to, they could be purposely showing the ones that look like granite and stuff like that because there are a lot of people who claim that this is involved with aliens and ufology and stuff. So that could be causing a lot of issues there. So they, I could see them actually making it to where it actually looks more like it's granite than actual metal because freaking I've actually seen some of them that do look like it's reddish and it's metallic. You know what I mean? Kind of like it has a rust to them.
Are you not getting confused with the monolith that was found in 2020 in Utah?
I don't know. I could. It's been a while since I've actually
Maybe.
gone over a
Yeah.
lot of this stuff, so it could be. What's that all about? Just curious.
Uh, that looks more like a man-made sort of object, a square oblong or an oblong. Not sure how big. I'd have to do some more research. A Utah monolith. A triangle prism that with three sides that's stood so 9.5 feet 2.9 meters, found in Utah in 2016.
Yeah, that one is more recently though. That's like within the last 25 years.
Um, and where it stood unnoticed for over okay for over 4 years. Okay, we moved in 2020. Um, okay, yeah. Anyway, carry on. That's Utah, but
It's actually pretty good because
mm,
that's kind of where we're going with a lot of this stuff, you know. So if there's anything that really sticks out to you that you want to mention about it, then go for it because I wanted to go back over that to clear it up because it was like when we did the Valley of Death, I literally had a brain fart. Just putting it clearly, you know what I mean? This is the stuff that I was actually wanting to cover, and I completely forgot all about it. So I wanted to kind of like make a note of it and then come back to it. So this was actually the perfect time for it. You know what I mean?
sorry, this was actually okay. It was actually placed in. It is a man-made object, the Utah one.
Is it?
Yeah. It was placed. It was unlawfully placed on public land between July and October 2016, and
Yeah.
we moved forward late 2020. Yeah, so yeah, totally different thing. But the other one that you're talking about, I would say it's well, it looks more like granite to me.
Now later on, I want to go back over that and check it too because it's like you know, and this kind of even goes into what I was talking about too when it came to Mount Fuji because a lot of people actually do. Hello, Tan. Yeah.
Gentlemen, hello.
Hey, now I'd like to go back over this later on too because a lot of this actually relates to like Mount Fuji too and what I was talking about with that and like people don't realize like Mount Fuji was actually thought of as the gateway to heaven, you know what I mean? And there's actually like cave systems that run underneath Mount Fuji that are volcanic
Mm,
and
mm.
they've
It's a real
described yeah.
volcano. Sounds great. Yeah.
They've described one as being filled with ice. Another one is really, really mossy because of the wind. And then there's one that is really, really quiet because of the volcanic ground that's underneath it. And like supposedly when you go into the suicide forest, which is just underneath it, everything is completely silent. You know, so
Mm.
So that's kind of strange. And I find it weird too that Dyatlov Pass is right next to a mountain called Dead Mountain. You know what I mean? I think that's really what caught my attention on that one. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe later on I can do some more stuff on that, but that's actually some cool stuff, especially when it comes to like a lot of this mountain worshiping stuff that I've been talking about. So, have you
Okay.
got huh? Yeah, welcome, Tan.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about mountains. This is Strange Stories right now, and we were just talking about the Valley of Death that I went over earlier on, and uh, revisiting the Dyatlov Pass. Like, have you ever heard of the Death Valley in Russia?
No.
It has these strange monoliths that they look like cauldrons that are sticking up out of the ground. And legend has it that there's energy that comes up out of it, and it creates like what they refer to as a weakness symptom, which is often associated with radiation poisoning. And back in the early 2000s, or like 2010, 2015, Ancient Aliens came out with a episode where they were talking about this area, and they were also talking about the Dyatlov Pass as well as um, you remember me talking about Tesla and his Teleforce ray and the incident that happened in Russia with all the trees freaking collapsing? Dan?
Me, vaguely.
Well, a lot of people believe that Tesla came up with a Teleforce ray that he shot at Russia, and it caused these trees to all collapse down except for the center part. And this is the Valley of the Death where they were talking about these monoliths that are freaking shaped like cauldrons, and it's really close to Dyatlov Pass. And on the show, they were suggesting that maybe this would have been responsible for the whole thing with Tesla, and also it might have actually been what was responsible for the death at Dyatlov Pass with the explorers too, because they had a photo of a strange anomaly that was up in the sky. It was a solid, bright white light, and they went as far as to say that these cauldrons, according to legend, are like energy forces that protect the earth.
Was there any other confirmation of the strange light, or
It,
was it
it
just
it's
them claiming?
no, it's in the photo. It's like one
Okay.
of the actual explorers at the Dyatlov Pass made a strange photo, and it had a strange white light in the background. You know what I mean? Like at the last moment of their life, they took a shot out of their picture, and it produced this photo.
Can you find those photos? Can you show them on the stream?
Well, you can if you want to, because I've got the stream on
What is it
you
called?
guys. It's Dyatlov Pass, and
Diagless path.
Dyatlov Dyatlov Pass. I can get the spelling for you here in a second. Give me a moment. No, I can't. I know it's DY.
Why?
Yeah, it's a Russian name. And actually. I
Dyatlov Pass. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. No, they have photos of it that you can actually pull up and look for, and you can see where I'm talking about with the like the photo that they found in the cameras. There's a couple of them that were
What kind of photos are these?
they were
Injuries.
well, there's the injury ones too, but there was actually a camera that one of the explorers had that they took a picture of it, maybe one or two of them, and one of them had a bright white light in the background, and then they said that another one could, or it could be the same one, but they said that it could have actually been like the abominable snowman or some shit like that.
But well, also,
Dyatlov Pass.
you go back in 1959, aren't you? It could be, as you said, the camera was damaged, so potentially
So
something
is this the
to
right
that,
one?
or maybe
This,
just a freak sort of light sort of phenomena.
this is the site of the 1959 incident in
Yeah.
northern Ural Mountains, where
Yeah.
9 hikers died under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah,
Right.
we did cover this
Yeah.
last year or year before.
I believe it was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're bringing it into a strange story because there's some strange thing that happens there. Or what?
Well, this actually is this, and then what was it? It was the other forest that it, they found a forest that had a strange occurrence happen. They really don't know exactly what caused it. Back in that time period, there was a explosion that took place up in Siberia where all of the trees had been knocked down except for the center part of the ground zero area, which was still
Okay.
standing up. Okay,
Okay.
they
Okay,
don't.
I'm looking at the photo now.
Photos
What,
of the hikers before and after they died.
I'm just looking at this one image of the bright light. What it suggests to me is that there's a lot of grainy marks on the photo, and there's a big sort of line right through the light. That what it suggests to me was that the lens itself was damaged.
Oh, it could also be.
Yeah. That's why I said that. Yeah, it looks like the
Mhm.
There's a
lens.
website dedicated for it called dyatlovpass.com.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never been to it. I've actually ran across
Okay.
it when we did this the last time. I forgot to go and check it out though. Now,
Want me to share the
It looks to me that it was
want me-
a actual physical damage with the camera.
well, of course
Let me
it
try
would
to share this.
get damaged because you got to remember this was the last shot they took before whatever happened to
Yeah.
them happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, if I just give you the I found a photo on Reddit. Right, stuck it in the chat. Yeah.
There. I'm sharing this site from dyatlovpath.com.
Yeah, click on the Reddit reference I've just given you, and have a look at that, because it suggests to me that it's actually just a faulty camera lens.
The camera lens.
yeah, now see that was when they came back the second time because they had to take a break because of the bad weather and then come back. They came back in the spring, and that was the shot they took with the second expedition that came out by plane. Which one is it that you're looking at?
I stuck the URL.
Where are you sending?
I sent the address
in the chat. Okay.
in the chat. Yeah,
In the Jitsi chat.
yeah, in there.
Okay. Yeah. Bring it up right here.
Oh, that damn Reddit. Reddit.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
There you go. Now
Yeah.
pop that out.
And
Like, click on that.
that sort of suggests to me that it's a
What
damaged
this
lens.
is a grainy picture. This is a grainy picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's 9:59. What do you expect? Don't expect modern
What
day.
is it? Is it an egg or what the?
Yeah,
what
he's saying that looks more like a crack in the screen,
Yeah,
which
it
it could
suggests to
be
me
if
a
you look
damaged
at it, because
lens.
if you go off to the side away from the light, you can see kind of a crackish thing going on through there. But you would expect that from if whatever happened. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that, because this was supposed to happen just before they died, so that would have been one of the last photos that they took.
Hmm.
Now that could
Are
also
you
also
showing this on
be,
your stream, Roger?
yeah. Let
Yeah,
me
we
double
can
check.
see it. Yeah.
Let me
You're showing your
yeah,
screen
it's
share.
right there. It is on there. Now that could also be like ancient astronauts said too, though, because their theory is that over in the Death Valley, those cauldrons were some kind of radioactive self-defense system that would shoot down any foreign objects coming into the
To
atmosphere.
be fair, what a lot of the stuff that was on that show is fanciful at best. My explanation is much more believable.
Not really. Like,
I'm not seeing the
Huh?
screen share on the
not
stream.
really. Like
Don't worry about that. It's
now this right here. Actually, look. See this picture right here?
yeah.
Does that look like a Sasquatch or a freaking? Does that look like a freaking abominable
It
snowman?
looks like a very blurry image of a human to me.
Yeah, it's a human.
That was another
Or
photo
humanoid.
that
should I
was
say.
another photo that was found that was supposed to have been taken by.
There's only 2 pictures on this Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 of the last known pictures taken by the hikers of Dyatlov Pass.
Yeah. Now that right there is strange because of the way he looks. Now that actually looks like it could. I understand why they were suspicious of the natives. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at that photo, it doesn't look like a freaking abominable snowman. It looks like somebody who was in the natives of that area.
It's Bigfoot.
How do you know it doesn't look like an? I'm going to play a bit devil's advocate here. How do you know it doesn't look like a yeti?
We'll
Have
pop
you
it
actually
up.
By the
seen
way,
a
Roger,
yeti
the photo
in
is
real,
not on
in
your
real
stream.
world?
So
Have you actually seen a yeti? Have you actually met a yeti?
Well, it's on there. I can see it on the OBS.
well, I'm not seeing
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
Rumble
yeah,
stream. Nobody knows what you're talking about.
It's there. Don't worry, it's there. It's
The
there,
Rumble
it's there.
runs behind because that's actually
Yeah,
the
Rumble is out.
24/7.
I'm looking at the
live
look at the
stream.
YouTube.
Yeah, the YouTube's the one that's the current. Now that you're watching the 24/7 live with Roger Hansen.
Yeah. What is that on
Yeah,
delay?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that on a 30 minutes delay?
It could be.
It's there. It will come out in the actual.
Which one is the actual live stream one?
That one is on YouTube in Odyssey.
Oh, you mean it's not live on Rumble?
No. Well, yeah, it's live on Rumble. It's just got a time delay because it's actually running slower than what the actual live stream is. So they'll
How
get
much
it.
slower?
They'll get it, but they'll get it like maybe a couple seconds behind us.
On
Couple
the actual
seconds.
recording, it will be there.
Yeah.
Don't
it'll
worry
be there.
about
Yeah,
this.
and
Click on
the
that picture
recording,
real
it may
quick.
be.
Click on that picture again real quick right there. I want to show you
Yeah.
something.
This?
Yeah.
Blow it up.
Now, look at the way that guy is presented to you. Now, you cannot tell me it does not look like there is some kind of headwear that would be tribal that's on the top of that image's
Well,
head.
it's a
It's
snowy
a
area.
snow
It's a
mask.
snowy area. It's a person that wants to cover his head because it's cold.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's just a,
It could be.
it's a ski mask, man.
You know.
something.
Well, it also, by the
Okay, I
way,
see.
it looks like he doesn't even have his shirt on.
It doesn't. Like, could be just. It's all
Snow
blurry.
jacket.
It's all
Yeah.
blurry. It's very hard to tell.
You know, because that's extremely bad weather. Look at the side of those trees, man. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, there's no way any ordinary human being could be out there without a shirt on. So, unless they are freaking the
what if
Unless they are
abominable.
what if
very,
he's
very brave.
what if he's without a shirt? What do you make of it?
If he doesn't have a shirt, he's the abominable snowman. If he has a shirt on, I would say there's a good chance he was a part of the indigenous society because he looks tribal. Like,
Can't really tell, but that
It could
could
be
be a
one of
zip
the
up.
team members.
It could be a fine zipped up jacket, for you know.
now let me
Yeah,
also
yeah,
remind you
like tightly
also
hugging
let
the
me
body.
remind you this was taken seconds before they ended up whatever happening ended up happening.
Mm.
Okay. So this
The
was just
comment says this has been mistakenly ID'd as many things. It's likely a hiker returning from a pee break.
well,
Yeah,
yeah.
Did you see the
sort of
caption?
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Two of the last known pictures taken by the hikers of the Dietless Pass incident in 1959 linked to more pics from the same camera.
Yeah, just two images.
Link to more pics from the same camera. Where? Down here?
No, it says it up above. Just
Yeah,
usually
only two images.
when they say that stuff on Reddit, you don't pay too much attention to it.
What about this here?
Anyway, carry on, carry on, carry on.
Carry
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Oh, good. That one didn't.
So, what's your
Move on.
take? What's your take on it before we go, and then we'll move on to the next mountain.
I think I've explained my take.
Well, you've been here longer. This is Tan's time. You give
Okay.
Tan time.
What?
What's your thoughts on all of that before we move on? Because you haven't had a chance,
You
Mister.
think? I mean, it seems like just some unfortunate accident. Some, you a bunch of hikers go into a mountain is like people going into Mount Everest, and something happened. They die because they run out of supply or anything or things like that. So
Have you
seems like a very unfortunate event to me, and nothing
have,
supernatural and
have
nothing
you
strange about it.
have you checked out the whole story behind this? Like, it doesn't even have to
Yeah,
be supernatural. It's a strange story. Just period.
Mm.
Like,
yeah,
it
yeah.
really is a strange story. This,
I don't know much about it. I'm reading up on what it's about right here.
I mean, even without it being supernatural or paranormal or anything to do with UFOs, this is a very, very strange story. It really is. Me and Mark were talking about like the radiation and that was detected there. And this actually got freaking such a public it was public outrage, to be honest. They were getting ready to freaking do some really bad shit in Moscow because people who were outraged by it were protesting and they were swearing up and down that the government was trying to cover something up,
Yeah.
which I could see that happening too. There might have been.
Why? So these are just a bunch of hikers. Why did they think somebody's trying to cover some up? Are
Because it's the
they think they're
Soviet.
spies or?
Because it's the Soviet Union and it's 1959. That's why.
Yeah. And when they went out there, they took readings and they found radiation that was on the hikers' bodies. Okay. One of the members of the expedition was actually working at a nuclear radiation facility and was contaminated with radiation. But the weird part of it is they found it on not just him but other members of the team as well.
A recent development on this story: Russian authorities reopened the case in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and investigations continue into 2021, which concluded as natural forces like avalanche were the cause of these deaths. Some forensic details remain debated. Independent researchers and enthusiasts have produced detailed reconstructions and analysis.
Mm-hmm. Now, see, my argument about it is there's another photo where it shows the tent being torn open. Okay. Now,
Oh, yeah.
there's ski freaking what do they call them things where they freaking use them to move the spikes. Now, usually when people freaking are skiing and they set up tents, they'll use those freaking ski uh, spikes to freaking put it down at the edge of their tents to keep it secure, okay? Now, if there was an avalanche, those would not be sticking up when they came out and took those photos. They would have been knocked down when the snow
In
hit
this
it.
one here, yeah.
I've just added another
This one.
address
Yeah.
in the chat, which I think you're talking about.
Actually,
Loading.
Which is the photo that you're talking about.
but it shows the tent, and if you look, it still has the freaking ski spikes still sticking up out of the ground.
Yeah. Tan. Oh, who's whoever's
That's
got the
Tan.
screen share. Or Tan. I've a look at the Wikimedia reference I just gave you in the chatter.
See,
Okay.
to me, that's
It's just a
what.
picture, you know?
To me, that's
Yeah.
what actually makes them lose their credibility on that one because it just there's no way that those skis would have still been sticking up like that. See right there? See,
Well, somebody was just hanging this ski. There are people
no, those
around there.
those are the actual
Of the investigators.
no, not the Those aren't their skis. Those are the people who died. Those are their skis still sticking up out of the snow.
Okay.
They're
It's only one. Oh yeah, sorry too. Yeah.
if that was caused by an avalanche, those would not be sticking up out of the snow.
Not necessarily. Just depends
Well,
on
the
how
avalanche.
it depends on
Where
how
are
they
the
end up.
bodies? Where are the bodies found?
They
Oh,
At the
This-
tent?
no, they
Oh.
actually ran off into three different directions. Well, two different
Right.
directions, but three different parties. Like there was two of them
Right.
that were found under a tree. One guy was so cold he put his feet directly in the fire and
Oh.
died. And
Oh, jeez.
then there was another group that had found like a trench and laid down in it and died. And then one of the girls, her freaking tongue was completely shattered in her mouth, but they couldn't find
Was it
fragments
so
of
cold?
the tongue. It was just completely gone.
Is it so cold the tongue just broke
yeah,
off, or what?
yeah.
And then halfway in between the tent and that group, there was another two people who died in the middle of the snow too.
What was the temperature there?
Oh, it was below zero, well below zero.
Well, for sure, but how?
It had to have been.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly what the temperature was.
Minus 20 to minus 30 centigrade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really really cold.
Really cold. Yeah.
That's not as cold as what it gets up there though, is it? In Canada.
Yeah, I mean, it would be normal Canadian winter temperature.
Yeah.
but I mean, minus 30. If it were minus 30, it'd be very cold. Minus 20 would be normal here, usual stuff, usual
Hmm.
winter. But minus 30 will be, yeah, yeah.
Well, I know that it's actually colder in Canada than what it is in Siberia. I did learn that.
Really?
It depends
Yeah.
on. No,
The,
minus 20 would be -4 Fahrenheit,
Minus
it,
4 Fahrenheit,
and
yeah.
minus 30 would be -22.
it all, and the reason why I'm saying that is I learned it's more according to the tilt of the planet. Like if the planet was tilted in a different way, then yeah, it could be colder in Siberia. But because of the tilt of the planet in its rotation, it causes uh, Canada to actually be colder than what it is over in Siberia.
Again, depend
Okay.
on whereabouts.
No, that's fact. That's science.
Yeah, but
Well,
Siberia is a very big place. Canada's a very big place.
that's
You haven't got an even temperature all over
no, it
those
don't work
areas.
that way, dude. It's like
Yeah,
Canada
besides,
and the North Pole are like the coldest region in the world, dude. Well, no, Antarctic. Sorry,
yeah.
Antarctica.
So yeah,
In the northern hemisphere, Canada in the North Pole is the
Not
coldest.
Antarctica is pretty.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
know.
cold at all.
Oh,
The Arctic
whatever, dude.
Arctic is cold.
The Antarctica is cold. Trust me. You don't want to be down
The
there, dude.
Antarctica is the South Pole, right?
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes.
And it's cold.
It is cold, man. It makes it makes your weather look like spring, dude.
Okay, I
Okay.
see.
The coldest winter
What
you
about the
guys
North
have.
Pole? I think you think the North Pole will be colder than
Yeah,
the South Pole.
I thought so
Mm.
too. But like, and if you go
No?
to the South Pole,
Yeah,
from the videos and everything I've seen of it, it is freaking
yeah.
the strangest air. It's like looking at a completely different planet, dude. Because
Right, right.
like mountains are literally pushing up like big stalactites or stalagmites
Out of the sea.
out of the ground. Yeah, like
Okay.
and everybody thinks of the South Pole like it's just all snow and everything, but when you get to the actual pole area, there's
Mhm.
mountainous
Interior
areas.
interior average in Antarctica is between -43 and a half centigrade to -60 centigrade. Um,
Oh, great. That's cold.
average the average the winter average in the Arctic is -40 centigrade.
So it's pretty close, actually.
That's average.
Mm, average,
Okay.
yeah.
I think they're lying,
A
dude.
little colder.
And summer average in the Arctic is 32. Oh, sorry, 0
Are
centigrade.
you saying Antarctica or are you saying the Arctic, like the
Arctic,
northern?
yeah,
Okay.
the Antarctic. When we got a interior average and a coastal average. Coastal average 10 centigrade. Interior average 43.5 to 60
I
minus.
I don't believe them. I think they're lying.
Record low Fostcock station in 1983, minus 89.2 centigrade.
Okay, so now that we've covered all of that, the next mountain I want to cover is the Black Mountain in Australia. Have you guys heard of the Black Mountain?
Mm,
You.
Okay, so the Black Mountain in Australia is well, it's called the Black Mountain, of course, and there's actually two mountains that are referred to as the Black Mountain. Okay, now the one I'm talking about is a mysterious boulder filled uh, kind of mountain. It's in a national park and it's in the far north Queensland area. Um, and
where's the other one? Just out of interest.
that one I believe is the Landmark Hill. It's in the center
in
in
what
Canberra.
often?
So,
Okay.
Yeah, bruh.
now the one I'm
Isn't
talking
that
about,
where near Mr. Robot is?
nah, I don't know for sure. It,
Um,
Canberra.
I know he's on the eastern part of Australia, so he could be up in that area. Now, Kalkajica is the Black Mountain that I'm talking about, and that one is in Queensland. Okay,
near Cooktown.
yeah. Now this one is near Cooktown, and it's called the Black Mountain due to like this its eerie appearance, and it also has a lot of local legends that go with it. Um, the geology of the mountain is basically it's a massive mountain, and it has uh, like 260 million year old granite boulders all over the place. Okay, now the the rocks that they're kind of black, but they're actually like light gray and stuff like that. It's most of them are jet black, and that's because of like a microscopic algae that's growing on the surface of the rocks. Okay, so the looks by itself makes it pretty freaking creepy. But the thing that's really weird about this mountain is that they believe that it's actually putting out like before when I was saying those the stuff that's going on in Death Valley, it's putting off a energy source basically. You know what I mean? They're making claims that it's doing that.
You say it's creepy, but as somebody who has walked on Dartmoor many times, being a big granite area, doesn't really look that creepy. It just looks like another landmass on Dartmoor to me.
Well, see, the weird part about this is there's several Dreamtime stories that go along with it. And have you ever, I mean, you've heard of the Dreamtime stories, right? When it
Yeah.
comes to Australia.
Mm.
Okay, several of them, and then there's one legend that describes the mountain as a heap of stones that was piled up by two brothers who were fighting one another. Okay, and
Mm.
it's actually been referred to as the Bermuda Triangle of the far north Queensland. To be honest with you, um, the the area is real famous for stories of people, horses, and cattle who disappeared without a trace, and they were supposed to have disappeared into deep crevices beneath the boulders. So
Okay, so landslides,
no, I mean
presumably.
they just disappeared. Nobody knows where they're at. You can say landslides if you want to, but you can't prove it because you can't find where these people
So
are.
I'm speculating, obviously, but I'm just making an
They could have
sort
fallen
of
into the
albeit absurd
cracks
assumption.
and fall down to the center of the earth.
I think my sort of assumption is a bit more viable.
And you need to understand these stories, they don't just like go according to your modern interpretation of what things are. These goes all the way back even with the tribes, okay, the indigenous people. Like this stuff goes all the way back. Okay.
The unexplained disappearances seem to have only come from the late 18th century or late 19th century onwards.
Yeah, that's 200 years right there, if I'm correct. Yeah, at least 150.
100, yeah. Yeah.
There's apparently also strange noise and cries and mournful howls coming out of it at night.
Could be wind, could be just,
Could be wind.
yeah.
Yeah, it could be wind, but that could be where hell is.
Australia's hell.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
down under. They say Australia is the land down under, so maybe that's
Yeah.
hell is down there.
Now, the thing that has been said too, like I said, like people are actually saying that there is some kind of like uh, energy that's there that they claim is like a radioactive energy, just like with the Dead Valley in Russia. Okay.
In the
When you
Bermuda
say
Triangle.
radioactive, what do you mean? Because there's a natural level of
Yeah,
radioactiveness
of course. I mean,
everywhere.
it could be that, but they do claim that they feel this kind of energy when they're around it. It could be a natural one, it could be man-made, but they do feel it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Now that is one thing that I've noticed there too, and I find it interesting as well that it actually goes into the story time. Uh, History or Dreamtime history when it comes to that. You know, the Aborigines, they actually go there and they do their ceremonies even to this day. That at this mountain, it's very sacred to them as well. You know, so you have not just one mountain that coincidentally is named Dead Mountain and the Aborigines believe is sacred. But now you have another one that's in Australia all the way around the world that is also sacred, and they also, um, well, it's sacred. You know what I mean?
You can't really make a link between them. I mean, mountains have been a sort of sacred place forever. I mean, Mount Olympus, that's been the most obvious one. You can't really make any sort of connection between the two.
Sure, you can. I mean, the fact that two groups actually freaking do the same thing with the mountains that have the same characteristics, you know.
Yeah, just coincidence.
You know,
People will make mythology out of anything.
no, this isn't.
And anything natural.
This isn't anything, dude. Like the Death Mountain, the indigenous there actually. Um, this goes back to the world tree kind of mythology. Before they had like the world tree that was supposed to be on the backs of a reindeer or horses. It was on the world mountain. Okay, and that's where mountain worshiping actually comes from when it comes to the Indo-Europeans. Okay, now then you have the indigenous population in Australia, which has absolutely nothing to do, supposedly, with the Indo Europeans, but they are the same way when it comes to this mountain, this Black Mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's a
And
very
it happens
plausible.
it happens all over the place. And let me also bring up, Mount Fuji again, which was also a mountain that they believed the same philosophy too. They actually believed it was the gateway to heaven, you know.
Yeah, a very simple, plausible explanation. You see, you are tribal from a tribal culture. You see something that dominates your landscape, and you connect it to your religious beliefs.
Then we can say that about Moses going up on top of the mountain to get
Yeah,
the
precisely.
commandments,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. I mean that's exactly what that's all about if you want to look at it like that, you know. So that I think that right there is probably the most basic thing to say. Like when it comes to these mountains, it's more than just a coincidence that cultures all over the world freaking actually have done this. You know what I mean? If it was like this country or this region that did it, then fine, you could say that. But then when it's different cultures that are all over the freaking planet that are doing the
Uh,
same exact
throughout
thing, no,
throughout our
that's
history,
that's a foolish
we've
notion, dude.
we've we've had religion, we've created mythologies around objects.
And they always tend to
Yeah,
be the same. They always tend to be the same thing. And
yeah,
mountain
because
worship
it
are,
is a very dominant. A mountain is a very dominant thing, isn't it?
it is. That's the one thing that's so weird about it too. And it's like I've also mentioned, like when it comes to the relationship between the snake and the bird, okay, and that's another one, okay. There's always the snake and the bird, and you see it today too. Like on the American dollar bill, you have the eagle with the snake in its freaking in its paws. You know what I mean? It's a symbolic part of freaking one the American bill. If you look at it,
Mhm.
and it's everywhere. All right, these aren't just coincidences. You know, it's very
But there is a connection between turtles and elephants, isn't there?
no, not
Um,
well. I mean,
I'm not using the Terry Pratchett's Discworld, but the Chinese mythology, I think, isn't it? Chinese mythology, where where Terry Pratchett got his concept from. Um, four elephants standing on a flying turtle on a turtle with the earth on top.
now the turtle, I know that is significant, and I've been hearing people say that the frog is also supposed to be significant in some way too. I don't know exactly how the frog ties into a lot of things, but I know the turtle is
And
actually supposed
also
to.
there is a similar belief in Zulu folklore.
Well, I don't know about for the turtle.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Mm,
I have to check that out.
yeah.
Now, the one thing that sticks out to me about this whole thing on the Black Mountain, though, is the disappearances. Okay, and this happens actually quite a bit, and these aren't like where you find the body. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, let's get that nonsense out of the whole vocabulary. I mean, these are actual disappearances where they are never found again. Okay, now
Mhm.
we're talking like at least 150 years of disappearances where people have just vanished, okay, at this mountain, which
Okay. Either they've been buried or they've been consumed. They've been
there
consumed
would
by
there would be remains, dude.
rattlesnakes.
Animals don't freaking eat bones all the way, you know what I'm saying?
Vultures too.
I don't know. I think you're reaching there. You're really reaching because there's no way that any kind of remains can just automatically disappear. You know what I'm saying? How many times have people been busted because they thought they had a plan on how to get rid of a
Okay.
body?
Also, this raises the question of how well the area was um, investigated after the fact of the bodies disappearing, and the humans, people disappearing, people disappearing.
Well, I mean, for me, I don't buy it. I don't think, I've never heard of anybody actually being able to freaking dispose of a body perfectly to where they cannot find it. You know what I'm saying?
I could make an argument that the remains were consumed, and B, that the remains could have been dispersed under the granite, under loose granite.
I just don't buy it. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Now, the thing that ties this one together is it goes back to another mountain, which I mentioned before, and this is Mount Kalash. Now, Tan, I know that you said that before you became Catholic, your family was Buddhist, right?
No, no. My grandmother was, but
Have,
it's
have you
part
ever
of the. It's
have
part
you
of
ever
her.
heard?
It's part of the. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, not too. Not we don't go to temple or things like that.
Okay. Have you ever heard of Mount Kailash? Kailash?
How do you spell it?
Kailash.
No. Where is it?
Now this mountain is the mountain that Buddhists,
Uh,
Hindus, and the
is it in
Jains.
India?
Yeah, it's in Tibet, I believe. These followers, the Bon actually too was the fourth one that I forgot. They would make pilgrimages to Mount Kailash, which is Kailasa is another word for it, and that's located in Tibet. Um, it's uh, it's it's considered like the spiritual navel of the universe to all of these religions. Okay,
Got a fairly pyramid sort of shape and has
Mount
been
Kailash,
claimed.
right?
Okay.
Kailash. Yeah.
Kailash.
It's supposed to be a cosmic center where the heaven and the earth meets too. So,
Really? So
mhm,
when people go to Tibet for their pilgrimage, they go here.
yes, they all
Yeah.
go there. And this is the Bon. This is the Jans or the Jans or Jains. I always have a lot of people call it Jains.
Yeah.
Then the Hindus as well as the Buddhists. They all travel to this mountain. Okay.
Uh, atypically, pilgrims trek around the mountain,
Right.
which is roughly about 32 miles, 52 kilometers in diameter.
Now, the significance of them by religion, it goes like this. The Hindus believe that the eternal abode of the Lord Shiva and his consort Parvati um, reside at the top of this hill, and it's often identified as like the mythical mountain Meru. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's supposed to be like the center pillar of existence. All right. Now, according to the Buddhists, it's known as Kang Rinpoche,
Yeah.
Rinpoche. Yeah.
Rinpoche, and
Rinpoche is like a master Buddhist master, right? Master monk or head
Rinpoche,
monk or something.
Kang Rinpoche, yes, and it's supposed to be home of Dimchok or Chakaram Samvara. Chakaram Saramva. You know, it's a deity that represents the supreme bliss.
What? A Rinpoche?
No, this is Dimchok.
Okay. Okay.
And that's a deity that's supposed to represent supreme bliss. And it's also celebrated as the site of a legendary spiritual duel that was won by the mystic Malaripa. So that's what it means in Buddhism. Now in Jainism, it's referred to as Mount Ashtapada, and it's the site where Rashambhadeva, the first Tirthankara, attained moksha or liberation from the cycle of rebirth, which would be samsara for the Buddhist.
Okay.
Now, the Bon, the indigenous Tibetan religion, considers it the 9-story swastika mountain. and the seat of all spiritual power. That's what they all believe in this mountain. Now, with the practice, the pilgrimage typically involves like the whole thing that Mark was talking about, where they circle the mountain's base. It's known as a kora or a parikrama, and the trek is usually around, or it's approximately 52 kilometers, which is 32 miles long, and it usually takes about 3 days to complete. Now, the Hindus and the Buddhists walk the route clockwise, while the Jains and the Bon practitioners typically circle the mountain counterclockwise, and climbing it
That's
is prohibited.
Yeah.
that's
Uh, approximate height 66,638 meters, or 21,778 feet.
Hmm.
Let's show some of these mysterious footprints.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Now,
That's giant. Those
now
are giant footprints.
Now, the weird part about this mountain, too, is there has been stories that were involved with this, okay? People who've made pilgrimages to this mountain, they have claimed that when they got there, they have felt the same kind of energy as what was described at the Black Mountains, as well as what was at that in the Death Valley in Russia with the strange freaking cauldrons. Okay.
Mhm.
And now there's been a lot of the pilgrims who said that they felt as though they had actually aged faster. Some of them have felt like their fingernails had grown faster, or some of them even felt like they were about to pass out or faint because they were there. And it's prohibited to climb this mountain. And some people believe that the reason why is because the government is actually protecting them from climbing that mountain because there's some kind of energy that's up there that can cause harm to the human body. Okay, which is something that I thought was interesting to bring up too. So that usually goes according to what a lot of that ufologists believe too, because they believe that this was like a power station for aliens to be able to freaking power up their spaceships, and that there's a power supply or a power source that's inside of the mountain that's being used as a power station for UFOs.
Interesting.
What do you guys think about that?
Again, me being extremely skeptical here.
Well, I mean, that goes
Yeah.
without saying. We know you're.
Just
What
theory.
what do you think about this mountain though? I mean, this is four major religious groups in that region that worship this mountain,
Mhm.
or they make pilgrims to it. Like if you talk to a Buddhist, they won't say they worship mountains. They say they recognize it as being a significant thing, like the tree, like the Bodhi tree that I've been talking about. They don't literally worship the Bodhi tree. You know what I mean?
I think it's a common theme that in a lot of religions, uh, people think that their gods dwell up
Mm.
high up in the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. And I find that to be more interesting than the actual fact that they do it. You know what I mean? And it's like I was trying to say to Mark. It's like you can't discount that happened all over the planet at different time periods. You know what I'm saying? Even today, they still do it. You know what I mean? That's
But again, I
significant. That's not
would
something that's
argue there's just a coincidence.
there's no such thing as coincidence, dude. That's a load of shit. Like the word coincidence is the biggest load of shit that was ever invented, dude. Seriously.
No, so sure.
Name one actual coincidence. Name one.
You want me to?
It's harder to name one than it is to actually say it. You know? And
There's a coincidence that somebody else owns exactly the same model lighter as I do.
no, it's not. You know better than that shit. You bought the
Here's a coincidence. I mean,
it's actually,
you,
and that is actually
they do
using
happen. They
actual
just we can't we can't ring them up on top of our head.
yeah.
Here's one
the guy bought the
coincidence.
same lighter from the same company is what that's not a
Here-
coincidence, dude. Like he bought
Here's
the
one
lighter.
And that is you holding it
here's one
this
interesting
minute.
coincidence, Roger,
Huh.
for the Americans.
Huh.
Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy both were presidents who were elected exactly 100 years apart. Both were succeeded by men named Johnson. Both were shot on a Friday.
I've heard this
Both
shit.
had wives who lost children while living in the White House. And both assassins, John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald, were killed before trial.
I've heard.
It's a big
this.
conspiracy. That's a big
I've
conspiracy.
heard that too, and also like they do a shift. They say, well, it's strange that Booth shot Kennedy in a theater, jumped down from it, hurt it, broke his leg, and then freaking ran into a warehouse, and then what's his face? The dude that's supposed to have shot Kennedy. He shot
Oswald.
Oswald
It was
supposedly shot.
all orchestrated.
Hold on,
It was all
let me
orchestrated by aliens and
listen.
the Illuminati.
Oswald supposedly shot Kennedy from a warehouse and then freaking ran and was caught at a theater.
Mm.
You see, which is the opposite. So I've heard all that. My ex
How
girl.
do you explain that? You're saying there's no such thing as coincidence.
Those aren't coincidences. They happen for a reason. They were engineered that way by the freaking the cabal.
Like you said, by aliens and the Illuminati.
Okay. Well, why? Why would they orchestrate such a coincidence?
I don't.
For reasons that we are to. For reasons that we should never know about.
when
I just sound like Mr. Robot now.
You would actually have to know the mind of what was going on in Oswald's mind when he did it, because, like, you know, I mean, if he did kill him, which I'm not gonna say he did or not, because I do believe that situation was a bit strange, and there's 80% of the freaking population in the United States who agree with me on that. Okay, so
80%.
there's very few people that will tell you Oswald is the one who killed JFK.
You are very specific on that number.
It's around there.
Every single person in the United
It's around
States.
there. The percentages have gone up really high in the last freaking actually since freaking the assassination. Like there's a lot of people who didn't believe it back when it took place.
There's a lot of people that are very gullible as well.
There's a lot of people who freaking aren't. Okay, there's a lot of people who aren't, and like when you're talking like that, that's very English of you. You know what I'm saying? It's you're coming at it from a very English perspective, and you really don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's assassinated your king or your queen. Like, you know what I'm saying?
What? Some British monarch who was assassinated. No,
I'm just trying to think.
No.
I'm just trying to think.
You know what I mean? So you got to remember that. Okay, like there's a lot of that. That would be like freaking say. Well, like it would be the equivalent of when Diana died for your people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It hurt the English population really bad. You know what I'm saying? So
There is an argument there, which I don't believe in, but there's an argument that the accident wasn't an accident.
right. And they actually freaking did a lawsuit to shut the freaking video up that made a point blank statement that Diana's accident wasn't an accident. If you remember, the royal family shut them down. You remember that? And then they come out and say, "Oh, it was just for fun. We were just teasing." Yeah, sure you were, dude. Whatever. You don't tease about somebody dying like that, you know. Well, you know what I'm talking about, like the movie that came out with
Say
about
that again.
Diana. You've
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
you heard about the movie that came out with about Diana dying and saying that it was
Well, there's a whole slew of British monarch who were murdered
Yeah,
slash assassinated.
I've got a Wikipedia page looking at the deaths of monarchs, and there's a section on there about assassinations.
Yeah. King Henry VI, murdered in the Tower of London.
oh that's whatever, dude. Let's get some serious shit like this. Now
Uh,
you start talking about the dynamite incident with Victoria. I'm gonna freaking
Would
puke.
you include those that were convicted of treason as being assassinated, i.e., Mary the First and Charles the First?
Well, Mary actually should
no,
have been the
if
rightful
they're
ruler.
convicted of treason and
It's still assassin. Okay, it's
sentenced to
still
death,
killer.
then
Yeah, yeah.
what about King Duncan the First of Scotland, murdered by Macbeth?
I don't know about all that now. So I tell you what, before we go any further, we can come back with a conspiracy theory episode later. I'm gonna bring this one to an end for the strange stories, and we can,
Conspiracy theories about dead kings of England.
yeah, we can do that. But what I want to do is in the strange stories now, and then we can come back later and do untethered if you guys want to. So if you want to do it,
At the bottom of the hour.
yeah. So let's give everybody our socials before we leave. We'll start with you, Tan. How can people get in touch with you?
My social is thtran at mind.com.
Okay. How about you, Mark?
Again, minds.com, username Medworthy.
And you can find me at Roger_Hansen at minds.com. You can also find me on X, Roger Hansen at ROGLOL1973. You can also find us on Roger's Hangout on Element Matrix and on Teams. Now, if you go on to minds.com, you can find Strange Stories, the group on there, as well as Strange Stories on YouTube. We also have these streams going on to the Wonderful World of Weirdness, which you can also find on YouTube as well as on Rumble. So check us out there. We are also on Kick at Roger Hansen and on Twitch at Infamous 1969. I hope I said everything right. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share, make comments. We'd love to hear your feedback. Thank you for watching, and we will talk to you later.